Flemming, let me start with you. You've also been doing a lot of traveling in recent weeks. So for you and your clients, what's it been like arriving at the airport?
Well, it's been a nightmare from getting onto the aircraft. When we're standing, I was just flying out to Toronto the other day, and the lineup was from one security entry point to the other security entry point. So it was half the airport long.
And Flemming, do you have a sense of what's slowing things down? We have heard from the federal government. Some of it, they say, is travelers who kind of forget to take their liquids, for example, out of their bags. But what's your sense from what you've seen?
I find that hard to believe. I believe it's that the airports are not equipped. And we know they can be because there used to be more people traveling and you didn't have these lineups. It's 100% the airport and the staff and the screening staff and not having enough staff. It's a very simple equation of how to fix this problem.
So getting through security onto the plane has been getting a lot of attention. Andy, there's another issue too, and that is the big backup for international passengers arriving in Canada. Tell us about that.
It's been a major emerging problem. Some nights in Toronto, Ian, we'll have half a dozen flights with a tarmac delay of over 120 minutes. And what this means for your guests is you can be waiting on the aircraft 2 hours before you get off the plane and then into the customs hall, which is another wait. So we've really impressed upon the federal government and the agencies in question. That type of thing has to end right now. We can't be keeping Canadian families, international visitors, and international business people on a tarmac and in our aircraft for those types of periods. It just can't go on.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime I've flown internationally, I'm counting down the minutes to landing and then to getting off the plane. So to be stuck on there for, for an hour and a half or whatever would be tough. What's the problem? Andy, what's causing that delay?
There's a variety of problems. If you listen to the Toronto Pearson Airport Authority, they will say, Ian, that the first thing the government can do is to remove the public health agency requirements, either remove the requirements or take the testing and those measures out of the airport facility. So I think we need to simplify the process. We need to review all of the COVID measures that have been put in place. And I think there's staffing issues as well at the CBSA. But if we are holding people on an aircraft because they have to socially distance themselves inside a terminal, I think to anyone that makes no sense at all. So I think these issues are coming into focus and we're looking for the government to respond pretty quickly here.
Flemming, you must be getting some frantic calls from some of your clients about missed, connections or bookings somewhere else. Well, what's been happening with them?
Well, the customers are very concerned because they may miss their cruise, they may miss their connection, they'll miss their first night in their hotel. And it's not the airline's fault. And the problem is the airlines are struggling already in having enough crew. And when the crew start going over in time and all that, now suddenly the flight can't take off to go back to the home destination. And it's just a domino effect. And the government has had many more people going through the airport than what go through it now. So it is not an issue with them not being able to do it. It's just don't put the staffing behind it.
So, Andy, a lot of people have been delaying flying for a long time because of COVID. And so, we hear about this pent-up demand. And now there are all these problems. What advice do you have for passengers?
I think first and foremost, we have to recognize the good news here. Canadians are traveling. Restrictions have come down. Families are reuniting. People are taking their dream trips again and visiting this country as importantly as anything else. So that, we shouldn't lose sight of the good things that are happening here in our country. I think advice for our guests primarily is to be kind, whether it's a WestJet flight attendant who's been through so much during COVID and is asking you to stay on the plane for a bit longer, or it's someone who's working at one of our government agencies. We just really need to buckle down and get through this and really be kind to each other, because these situations can get out of hand, but everyone wants the same thing, which is an efficient transportation system and a proper welcome mat for Canada when they land here.
And Flemming, from a travel agent's perspective, advice for passengers or people thinking about being passengers?
You know what, the only magic is go to the airport early. Be prepared to know that you're going to be standing around for a while. And then some days you find there's no lineup. You get through right away. So the magic is be early.
CATSA posts wait times. The only thing is you don't know when you look at that wait time what it's going to be like in an hour or two. Andy, any advice in terms of how early you should get to the airport?
We've posted those advisories on our website, and CATSA does as well. So I think the standard now is 2 hours for a domestic flight at most airports. So, I'd ask your listeners and your watchers to, to follow that guidance and just be prudent. Bring a book, enjoy your family, and make the best of it and enjoy that trip. And don't let these things get in the way of what you're there at the airport to do, which is to go and experience something new and great or visit a friend and relative who you miss.
Well, we've been patient through a lot over the last 2.5 years, and I guess patience will still get us through this. Thanks to both of you for speaking to us tonight.
Thank you, Ian.